For the final time this week, good evening and welcome to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. Looking back on day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival 2023 and gearing up for, quite frankly, the hottest Gold Cup we've seen in the best part of at least 10, maybe even 15 years. It's going to be an absolute corker tomorrow, but we've still got one of many people's bankers of the week in the race. But that's all to come a little bit later on, of course. Today, you've been forgiven for wondering what year it was, quite frankly. A Nichols winner in a novice chase, Tony Martin winning the Pertemps, Sire de Burley winning the Stayers, an Irish 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Kim Muir. At least the Ryanair went to plan, in the sense that Shrewsbury Park won it for the third year on the bounce, not with Allaho, who didn't turn up, but with the reserve off the bench in the shape of Envoy Allen, and there was plenty else going on as well. Jamie Snowden with another winner. It's been a while since he won at the Cheltenham Festival. The race he won before doesn't even exist anymore. But when all is said and done, you can always rely on Paul Kealy to pull out a big prize handicap winner, and maybe not being on the show last night and get a little bit more kip. Certainly turned his look around. We'll be hearing from him very shortly indeed. But it is live and interactive as ever, so make sure you like and subscribe to that stream and get involved on the chat. Plenty of people already have. Good evening to everyone who's been watching throughout the week. Connor Crossland, Stevens 99, Ryan Gledow, Music Mike, Kevin Hasnip, Tom Leach, and Martin Harvey and more. And fair enough, Connor Crossland, I was only joking. Too, with my reply to your joke. It's all kicking off. It's been quite the week here, and yeah, we're going to celebrate as well, because you've been my constant in the studio, haven't you? You're all dressed up in your, for some reason, mighty Potter silks, maybe to commiserate us all going out the place pot for that one. But we're going to have our cake and eat it too, and celebrate Seddon's birthday in 4 days' time. But I think Paul Keely's birthdays came 4 days early. Good evening to you, Keels. And I mean, you throw some, they well and truly land. You must have been, well, you must have been counting the money from the get-go.
Yeah, I'm rolling in it today. Great day. What a marvellous day's racing that was. Yeah, Seddon was absolutely brilliant. As I said earlier in the week, I bumped into the owners. They introduced themselves to me on Monday and begged me not to tip it because I was a jinx, but I wouldn't listen to them. And he got the job done. Brilliant ride, fantastic result. I had a bit of anti-post joy as well. I know I've been saying I thought Shishkin was a good thing, and I did. But when I did in the weekend, I put 2 horses up in that race, and it was Shishkin at 6s and Envoy Allen at 33. So I got a little bit there as well. And I had a few quid on You Wear It Well. Is that enough after timing for you?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. People are going to love that, aren't you? Yeah, well, we didn't come on the show last night and backed, what, a 300 to 1 treble or something, whatever that was. No. Yeah, thanks, Keels.
I never had any trebles or anything, but it was a good day.
No, fair enough. Well, you're looking refreshed, mate, so let's hope we can continue on to day 4. And, of course, your favourite race of the week in the shape of the Martin Pipe. Looking forward to what you've picked out there. Tom Segal, you've got a good record in the Martin Pipe as well. We've had Galloping de Champs won you. We've had Banbridge. We've had, basically, can you find a Grade 1 horse in a handicap tomorrow? But before that, we've got, I mean, it doesn't get any easier tomorrow, does it?
Never easy at Cheltenham, Ross. You just watched those results today. I mean, they were Keels types results, weren't they, with those big price ones going in? Yeah, I just thought it was weird days racing, if I'm being honest about it. It was like, as you say, your intro was spot on. It's like going back 10 years, wasn't it? Envoy Allen and Cider. You know how many horses fell today? One horse in total fell. There's been a very few fallers. Time White was the obvious one. Marla Mission. It's been remarkable how few fallers there've been. I've thought this week, and
which is a good thing, obviously, Tom. Yeah, let's not just yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I think maybe those white fences are doing their job. Willie Mullins had a bad day, didn't he? He didn't have. Did he have any horse? Mr. Incredible finished in the frame, but everything he had the 7th, 8th, and 9th in the Ryanair. Appreciate it was rubbish. Very bad day today. In fact, he's had a pretty bad week, if truth be told.
Well, I mean, you say this. He's had 2 on day 1. He's had 2 on day 2. And remember, last year he had 5 on the final day, and it was similar to last year. He just unleashed them all on the Friday, didn't he?
You stole my thunder. I was going to say, is it going to be the final day Willie? Because he's had think 5-2 has been the biggest price winner. Now he's had 4 winners, of course he has. So he's not going to go home. Everyone thinking he's lost how to train. But that 49.50 losers, I think, and the biggest price winner is 5-2. So hopefully, I think you'll be hoping that he has a better day tomorrow than he did today.
Well, I mean, it'd be remiss of me to crab someone who'd had 49 or 50 winners, losers this week and hadn't backed anything bigger than 5-2's won. So fair enough. But my 2 best bets of the week, neither of them ran. My Ashrow Diamond Banbury each way doubles looking good, isn't it? Money back, job done. Anyway, David Stevens, how are you doing?
Good evening. Well, I'm personally doing okay. It was one of those days you look at results and not a single favourite winning. You'd think it should have been a bookmaker's benefit, but really play out like that, certainly from a Coral perspective. I mean, Cider Burley, fair play. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it was Richard Austin Spotlight in the Racing Post put that up. So that was back 66.50. Sorry, Ben. Apologies. And at those sort of prices, doesn't take a lot to build significant liability. So that was a good result for plenty. Seddon, obviously, thanks to Keels, was put up. And even though Shishkin and Mighty Potter both got beat, Stage Star and Envoy Allen were the second worst results in the book. So I'd say not the sort of stellar day for us it should have been, but always worth reiterating. This Friday, it steps up another level. And 2022, 6 of the 7 Friday races in the top 11 highest turnover races of the year. The Albert Bartlett, an incredible 4th biggest betting race of the year last year. The Fox Hunters in at number 8. So whatever's happened in the first 3 days can all change dramatically tomorrow. So lots to play for. You mentioned Willie Mullins. I mean, it says what high standards he set, that we're saying 4 winners in the first 3 days of Cheltenham is not a great return. But he'll be back tomorrow without any question. And his Gold Cup favourite is the subject of our price boost. Galopin de Champ. Plenty will be keeping the faith. The duration of this live show, 9 to 4 from 7 to 4. Max 20 quid. Galopin de Champ.
There you go, Galopin de Champ 9 to 4 then. I don't know if all those races having such a high turnover has anything to do with St Patrick's Day potentially tomorrow, but it might have something to do with it. But we'll get into the races for tomorrow. Highlight from today, Tom, and also, by the way, it wasn't Richard Austin who put Cider Burley up, but he did put Stage Star in the first, so it's been a good day for the Spotlight. But highlight for you, Tom?
It's pretty hard for me to find the highlight. I think today it wasn't a great day for me. I think I managed to find the faller, and the only other ones are back. Home by the Lee nearly fell, and Janadil nearly fell too. So that was why I was quite surprised when I noticed there was only one faller today, because all mine seem to take every fence home with them. So I'm struggling to find one. But obviously, in terms of watching the racing, I did enjoy Seddon winning, because I thought he was just put perfect, wasn't he? Never put a foot wrong.
To be fair, that might be Keels' highlight as well. So just nod and smile if it was Keels. There you go. Lovely stuff. Right, we'll look at day 4 in just a second after this. Okay, let's get cracking then with Gold Cup Day. Starting off with the Triumph Hurdle, the first race on the day on Friday for the 4-year-olds. And at one point, you thought surely there's going to be about 6 or 7 runners in here. They're all going to avoid the Mullins battalions, as Lossiemouth, Blood Destiny, and Gala Marceau have all run to levels that would win pretty much any Triumph Hurdle over the last 10 years or so. But no, there's loads of them. 15 of them lining up. But there's a big jump out. Dezenter at 14 to 1, who, to be fair, is also trained by Willie Mullins. Gypcott and Gust of Wind, Ascending, Jupiter Geek, they've all got little bits of form, but it is all about, currently in the betting, the Mullins horses. And quite frankly, Tom, I'm going to come to you first here, but I mean, I'm a little bit sick of talking about what happened to Lossiemouth at the Dublin Racing Festival. So maybe try and not reiterate that one again, but it's completely wide open. One of the most interesting things for me is Paddy Mullins on Blood Destiny. What a ride for him.
Yeah, great ride. I mean, before we go further, how many runners has Willie Mullins got in this? 10, is it? 9? Got a load anyway. He's got a good vast. I mean, I was listening to the telly yesterday, and AP and Ruby were banging on about how it's competition that's why Ireland dominate the novice races. I was sitting there thinking, what a load of old rubbish that was. it's nothing to do with competition. It's because they can get all the good horses. Can't tell me Paul Nicholls and Nicky Henderson can't do it. We saw what they can do with Constitution Hill and Stage Star. Nothing to do with competition. It's because, certain trainers have all the good horses, and that is why we've got the Triumph Hurdle we have here. It's a great race, don't get me wrong, but the first 4 in the market are all trained by the same bloke.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if we're going back, back in the day, you'd have an Alan King, you'd have a Nicky Henderson, you'd have a Willie Mullins, you might have Philip Hobbs throwing one in as well. You'd have, I'm trying to think who else had got involved. But you're right, 7 of them are trained by Willie Mullins, and the shortest British horse is Jupiter de Geets at 33 to 1.
Correct.
Sorry, Gypcot's been backed, yeah.
Gypcot for Ben Pauling's in there, but that's just pure guesswork, isn't it, to know what Gypcot is? So look, the Mullins boys will know. I personally think Lossy Mouth is probably going to win, getting the £7, but Blood Destiny's very good too. I don't know what's more to say. One of them will win, won't they? We'll all move to the next race, which is much more interesting.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I saw a comment. I think it might have been on last night's show saying that when an Ergamine wins, we all say he's beat bad horses, and we don't talk him up. And when Constitution Hill wins, we rave about him to the tops of the towers. But the thing is, a Mullins horse battering loads of British horses is pretty boring. Henderson decimating all the Irish battalions is actually quite a standout news story these days, isn't it?
Absolutely. When we don't have any good horses, it's as simple as that. If you don't have the owners to buy the horses, you can't get them. Because the difference this is the difference which people don't get, is the jumps racing. They buy that already have form, don't they? Because they're point-to-pointers, or they're bumper horses, or they've run in France. So they already know they're good before they buy them. On the flat, it's different. You're breeding 2-year-olds that never run before. So they already know they've got the best horses. So it's just literally a money thing. Mullins has got the most money. Elliott's got the second most money. De Bromhead's got the third most money. They win the races. Simple as.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, on the flat, you could go, you know what, I'm going to send, my mare, maybe try out this unknown 2-year-old who's just retired to stud, and we won a couple of Group 1s, and see how that goes, and bang, suddenly you've got a potential fly in the ointment. Anyway, Keels, that's enough moaning. What was the Triumph?
Lossymouth. It's funny, all the gossip on day one was how Takeo had kicked Blood Destiny out the way on the gallops in the Fred Winter. That's why there's so much money for Takeo in the Fred Winter, and he ran absolutely terrible, didn't he? So I wouldn't be surprised if Blood Destiny drifts a little bit tomorrow. But I think, Lossymouth, we know she was unlucky, no need to repeat it. I think she'll get it done.
Okay, fair enough. Is there anything at bigger price? I mean, obviously, Gypcot's a little bit interesting, given Ben Pauling threw bad into the Fred Winter, and he did actually run a blinder. It was just another case of hitting the front a bit too soon. If he'd have been held on to, he might have got in the mix. But is there anything that could improve enough to win this?
I think they've got an awful lot of improving to do, haven't they? That's the worry. So, no, it's not really an interesting betting heat for me.
Okay, fair enough. David Stevens throws a bone here. What do you got in the Triumph?
It doesn't need repeating. She was absolutely mullered twice at Dublin Racing Festival. She's the best horse in that race and didn't win. If she gets the luck tomorrow, she'll win, won't she, Lossymouth? That's it. Move on.
Okay, fair enough. What else have we got? Lucas is on Lossymouth at 10 to 1. Feel free to share, Lucas. And that's it. Lossymouth just wins, says Lucas, but that might have something to do with the bet that you've had. I'm going to go against you all. Never mind this Takao nonsense, beating Blood Destiny. I don't think you need to know that performance last time out by Blood Destiny was fantastic, and I'll go with Patrick Mullins rattling home on that one. But anyway, that's the Triumph. Let's move on to the second race on day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival, the County Hurdle here. And, if anything, Mullins, he's winning all the novice hurdles, or the Irish aren't necessarily. Hunter's Yarn 9 to 2, could have gone for the Supreme, might have even gone for the Ballymore. He's gone for the County instead, and he's 9 to 2 favourite. Filey Bay, big run at Newbury, is 5 to 1. Pembroke also swerved the graded races for Dan Skelton, is 13 to 2. Sharjah, of course, multiple Grade 1 winner, is 8 to 1. Jin Coco hasn't been seen since running a blinder in the Greatwood, is 9 to 1. Magna Glory 10s, Ballyadam 12s. He was a graded horse a few seasons ago as well. You got Pied Piper in there, First Street, Pathdorrow, Winter Fog, Orcan Risk. Never mind the Triumph Keels. This is a race.
Yeah, proper races, love it. This is the day that the Irish always dominate, and the money coming for Hunter's Yarn is sort of ominous, isn't it, for Willie Mullins? Given what Stage Star did last year, but he is a fair bit higher than Stage Star was in the weights because he's had that extra run, and the handicap has got a chance to have a look at him. If the British are going to win a race tomorrow, it'll be this one, I think, and it's I think Pembroke's got a massive chance for Dan Skelton. He just quite obviously didn't stay last time, did he? In a Grade 2 Ballymore trial. Dan Skelton's won the race 3 times in the last 7 years, hasn't he? He knows exactly what he's doing. He's aimed it at this since that day. He's only rated 136. I think he could have got him very, very lightly. I've also had a few quid on Petit Tonnerre at a much bigger price with John Joe O'Neill. I keep thinking he's going to win a decent prize. He keeps flattering to deceive. So, maybe just coming back in trip a little bit and getting a strong run race over 2 mile 1, especially with only a couple of hurdles in the last mile, because he can miss one out. I think this race sets up quite well for him, but Pembroke will be the main fancy.
Okay, Pembroke it is then for the Skelton team, of course. Did very well with Langer Dan, and third time lucky. They are on a bit of a blinder as well. So a couple against the field here. Tom, plenty of horses we've talked about throughout the season for various red hot races. This is another one. First Street's got some cracking form. Pied Piper, to my eyes, has been plotted up for this all year. And I tell you what, Orcan Risk. If he does it again, he's one of my favourite horses, and it'd be Chris Gordon and Tom Cannon.
What's that? Last winning you backed, Orcan Risk?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be over the sticks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, great, right? Such a chalk and cheese from the Triumph, isn't it? Really exciting, really good race for us all to use our brains and have a go at. I'm like Keels. I've backed Pembroke as my main choice, just for the reasons he said. Dan Skelton's I think he's only been training for 6-7 years. He's won this 3 times. He's won the Coral Cup, he's won, so I'm every time I comes to one of these big handicaps, first man I look at are the Skeltons. Pembroke clearly has a good chance. Hunter's Yarn he's probably going to be a Grade 1 horse, isn't it? I mean, Mullins has won it 2 of the last 3 years with 2 horses that have gone on to be placed in the champion hurdle, Samoa and State Man, this year. So Hunter's Yarn is probably very good. Difference is he's a little bit higher in the weights. I mean, he's £10 higher than Samoa was. Could still easily be good enough. But got to take him on at the prices. Filey Bay just didn't. Everyone says I'm just not convinced that horses are coming out of that Newbury meeting and running that well this week. I mean, there'll probably been someone will find 1 or 2 others, but quite a few horses have dominated have disappointed on that fast ground at Newbury. I'm just slightly concerned for Filey Bay, but he obviously did really well to finish second, but he still got beaten and he's still gone up in the weights. So I 5 to 1. I much prefer Pembroke. 2 I like to big prices. All week I've been keeping Magna Glory under my hat, hoping, because it's trained by Terence O'Brien, to get a massive price on the day, and then I start doing my copy at about 10 or 12 o'clock, so I see it slowly whittle down until we've got it at 10 to 1 now. And so in the last minute, I changed and went, having watched Henry de Bromhead's horses run well all week, I changed and had a few quid on Ballyadam as well, simply because he's twice run at the festival. He was second in a Supreme. Yes, he was beaten a long way, but he was still second in Supreme. And then he was 5th in this race last year when the de Bromhead horses didn't seem to be in the same form, Ballyadam. But he's come back, and he ran really well at the Dublin Racing Festival when the de Bromhead horses weren't. He was 3rd to Gaelic Warrior and Nibiru. I think that's pretty strong form. Gaelic Warrior ran very well, I thought, on yesterday. So I thought he might go well with the de Bromhead horses going well. So they were my 2, Pembroke and Ballyadam.
Okay, yeah, and in that race last time, Tom, 12th was Good Time Johnny, and 13th was An Epic Song, who got beat on the line the other day. So that race is already, I mean, if you backed all the horses that had run this week at Cheltenham, in each way, multiples, and you put Ballyadam as well, you'd be laughing. So yeah, that does look like a good form. But yeah, it's absolutely wide open. Obviously, I think First Street, he's got to have a big chance as well, hasn't he? Pinkerton, for any Weezer fans out there. I'm sure there's plenty of you watching. And to pick up on what you said about that Newbury, I mean, apart from, Hitman ran all right, I guess, today. But apart from that, you're right, everything's... It's very different, isn't it, Newbury to Cheltenham as well?
Yeah, I just wondered whether the ground... I mean, I think Paul Nicholls was obviously using the meeting as a trial, so Grenadine and Hitman ran okay, but it's just been hard to find anything else that's really come out in the meeting and run very well. The ground was really quick as well, so it's totally different to set of circumstances we've got here. Bartley Bay could easily do it. He's unexposed and clearly a very good horse, but I wanted to look elsewhere, really.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, my heart does say Orcam Risto, which probably was the last winner I backed on. But how are you doing? How are you doing this week?
Well, I've had a few of the anti-posts have gone in. A few of the anti-posts have gone in, at least.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're both in glass houses. Let's put the stones down, shall we? David Stevens, what do you make of the county?
Never mind now. I love it. Day 4, we're turning on each other now. It's like Lord of the Flies, isn't it? Wonderful.
Look, it's getting to the point now that I'm gonna keep turning the screw on Segal until he comes in the studio. That's it. That's what I've decided.
First thing to say about this, 6 places each way, of course, in this county. Another vote for Pembroke, the novice. Dan Scout on great record in this race. Dan did a piece for us yesterday ahead of the Coral Cup, and he said his best chance of a winner this week was Pembroke. Obviously, he Langer down, then went and won the Coral Cup. So the other one I should get suckered into betting, now having heard Keels tip it up, is Petit Tonnerre, who I've backed 4 times this season, obviously without success. So didn't want to hear Keels say that, because I still have to back that one at the price 25-1. And I should also get sucked in on Sharjah, which is the opposite of State Man. Obviously, it's gone on to be the Group 1 horse. This horse already a Grade 1 winner. Look, he shouldn't win off top weight, but I should be suckered into it. But it's sort of race you've got to have a few guys out. But no question, Pembroke, plenty of confidence behind him. Tom also mentioned Ballyadam there, the mount of Rachel Blackmore. She is the subject of our second price boost tonight. Rachel Blackmore to ride a winner on Gold Cup Day was 2-1, is now 3-1.
Okay. A wide open county hurdle then. Keels, yours against the field, please.
Yeah, Pembroke for me and Petit Tonnerre.
Okay. Tom Segal, the greatest tipster of the past 20 years. I apologise, you're a wonderful man.
You're more than welcome, Ross. I've had worse Cheltenhams, I can assure you. Much, much worse. Pembroke and, I can't remember now, Ballyadam.
There you go.
Ballyadam.
Pembroke and Ballyadam it is. I'll go for Pied Piper and First Street. David Stevens?
Pembroke and Sharjah. I'll be nice to Keels and leave Petit Tonnerre alone.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go on to the Albert Bartlett then. Just the 20 runners for this novices hurdle, which you might not find the winner tomorrow, but it's always worth following the race, isn't it? It throws up winners next year, and then the year after, and then the year after that. It is a incredible schooling ground for future success. Good Time Johnny was in this last year, of course. Green Book was also in this. They finished 1st and 4th in the Pertemps. This year is, well, impossible on paper. Let's find out. Corbett's Cross is 100-30. 3-card Bragg is 7-2. Hidden Valley Lake 15-2. Embassy Gardens 8-1. Favori de Champs do 10-1. Sander Clegane is 16s with Monty Star and Seabank Bistro. We've also got Let's Be Clear About It for Gavin Cromwell. Shambally Kid for Willie Mullins. He's got a very similar profile to his winner last year. Dawn Rising up in trip as well. Paul Nichols with Stay Away Faye. He's been keen on that one. And Search for Glory as well. Wouldn't it be quite the final day, Tom, if, after all that's been spoken about this week and the frustrating day he's had, if Davy Russell went and rode a few winners on Friday?
For Gigginstown, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Beating those two in the winners' enclosure. Yeah, it would be. I mean, I think according to Jamie Codd, the horse Davy Russell rides got a bit of a decent each way chance. I think their best two are 3-card Bragg and Favre de Champs do. I'm a little bit surprised 3-card Bragg is so short in the market, really, given that I don't think his form's quite as good as Corbett's Cross or a few others in the race. I think people are expecting him to be a lot better at 3 miles, and I'm sure he will be. And I think the more rain that falls, the better he will be. But on form, I think he's a little bit behind a few of these. I think Corbett's Cross is the standout horse, but going from winning a graded race over 2 miles to winning over 3 miles here is I know he's won a race over 3 miles, but it was a handicap, and he was obviously absolutely thrown in. I think staying trips is relative. If you're miles better than the horses you're running against, you could probably stay 3 miles. In a race like this, I think it's going to turn into a real slog, because they want to get to test. The Elliott team will want to test Corbett's Cross's stamina and make it set up for 3-card Bragg and Favre de Champs too. I'd be worried about him staying. I think Hidden Valley Lake's going to go well in the first time tongue tie. Embassy Gardens looked very good last time. Don't know whether the form is how to rate the form. I like Favre de Champs too. I thought he was really impressive at Limerick. I think he's been kept back for this race. I think the horse that he beat, Gavin Cromwell's horse, got a bit of a squeak each way too. But the other one I like is Willie Mullin's other horse, Seabank Bistro, simply because he raced against Corbett Cross. He ran against Corbett Cross 2 starts ago and gave him £5 because Corbett's Cross had a claimer on him. And he was only beaten a couple of lengths and he was staying on well at the end. He's won a Mickey Mouse race since, but the winner's come out and won a race since. He was 4th in the bumper. I know it was a bad bumper, but Facile Vega still came out and ran well earlier in the week. And I thought I did a little thing with Patrick Mullins and he said, watch out for Seabank Bistro in this race. So all in all, I think he'll run really well, Seabank Bistro. But the one I like most is Favori de Champdou.
Yeah, just looking at that roll call, that Limerick race, it's phenomenal, isn't it, Tom? You know, you go back your Forheens, Martello Tower, who won this as well, Penn Hill, who won this back in the day. Even Delta Work was sent off 8-1 and beaten in this, and Gigginstown have won it for the past 4 years running. It's clearly what's our future staying star. Different conditions this time, of course, but that might actually, he's going to stay, don't you?
Favori de Champdou you're talking about?
Yes, yeah,
absolutely, yes. He's definitely going to stay. I think he won with plenty in hand. He's a bit different from most of the horses in this race. He's 8. He had a couple of years off, but the thing about him also is he's got a lot of ability. In his bumper, he beat Run for Oscar and Ajero, who are both rated, well, Run for Oscar is rated in the hundreds. Ajero's rated 98. Run for Oscar won the Cesarewitch. Ajero won at Glorious Goodwood. So he's obviously got a lot of ability, as well as the ability, as well as the stamina. So I just thought he'd go well, but this is a race. I mean, Keels has had a few touches in this race. It's a race that is really, really hard. I think it used to go to something that no one had ever heard of, and then recently it's gone to more to plan. So I think Corbett's Cross is the one to beat, but I'm going to take him on with Favori de Champdou.
Yeah, just having memories of Bertie's Dream slogging through the mud to win it. God knows what price that was, but yeah, because I'm looking at that Limerick race. Angel's Dawn, who won today, was 3rd last year. Freedom to Dream, didn't he win the Imperial Cup or something? Vanillier was 2nd a few years ago. Anyway, I've gone down a rabbit hole. Keels, the Albert Bartlett. It's certainly not a 24-runner handicap hurdle, but it might be in a couple of seasons, and there's still a big field to go through.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's routinely the hardest race to solve of the novice hurdles, isn't it? But I think it's potentially a good race, and the top 2 you could say have really strong claims. What Tom said about Corbett's Cross, I actually prefer 3-card Bragg of the 2, and I've had to have a saver on him. I think he's an absolute guaranteed stayer, and he's going to relish conditions. It seemed to be getting quite tested later in the day, didn't it? It was only drizzle going around, but it's getting in, and I think he's going to love it. Hopefully he'll do well for Max McNeil. Poor old Max McNeil, who's never had a Cheltenham winner, and 6 months ago sold Seddon, which was a bit of a dastard. That would have been a bittersweet day for him. But I've got another one. I've got one I think is going to run a really, really big race, and that's Gavin Cromwell won the race 2 years ago with Vanillier, and he's got Let's Be Clear About It. And I just think this horse was just taking his time to get ready, to learn at a time when the Cromwell stable wasn't particularly going well, but he's got better with it every single run. It was only a Mickey Mouse race he won last time, but he won it very, very easily on bottomless ground, which he clearly loves. His bumper form of a couple of seasons ago was really, really good. He ran in 5 bumpers, only got beat by 2 horses. One was Sir Gerhard, the other one was Kiltrut. And I think this horse is just going to start coming to himself, and he will stay forever.
Yeah, and like I said, he was beaten in the same race that Vanillier was beaten in, wasn't he, as well? So definitely interesting. 18-1 is Let's Be Clear About It here for the Albert Bartlett. At home, Rob Dixon says I'm going to have a crazy each way on Idalco Bihui. Red Light says Embassy Gardens, who's been the big drifter in the race, of course, and Ralphie Rock My Way could well run a big race as well. And also, given how well Bron ran earlier in the week, a big shout out to Sander Cleggan for those unlikely Game of Thrones each way doubles going into the Albert Bartlett. But David Stevens, how many places have we got? Any price boosts and any big price stayers you're interested in here?
5 places each way in this one. I'm very much in the Favori de Champdou camp with Tom. Obviously, Let's Be Clear About It. He was off for a long time, but he's clearly over whatever problems they were with 3 wins in a row. I thought double figure odds about him was still a bit of value. And I'll give a mention to Rock My Way as well. He beat Pembroke, obviously, who was a non-stayer in that 2.5 mile race. But the celebration, should Sid Hosey train a festival winner, would make Anthony Knott look positively reclusive. So that's just one to keep an eye on. But yeah, Favre de Champs do for me.
Yeah, I mean, it would also be, like I said, we want different trainers to win. We had Patrick Neville, of course. We nearly had Laura Morgan today as well. Sid Hosey goes in. It'd be Hosey's in.
I think Dave might get his wish, because Anthony Knott's involved in the Sid Hosey establishment. So if that horse does win, you'll get the double.
A very shy retiring bunch then, aren't they? That might be worth watching.
The way Sid Hosey, Anthony Knott, they're all there.
Birds of a feather flock together and all that jazz. Okay, Albert Bartlett pick Keels.
Let's be clear about it each way and have a little save on 3 card break.
Okay, there you go. And Tom?
I've backed Favre de Champs and Seabank Bistro.
Okay, David?
Favre de Champs do for me.
Okay, Favre de Champs it is. I'll put the first 10 in the bet in a combination forecast. No, I won't. It's just I'm going to keep backing horses out of this for the next 3 years. But it is an absolute nightmare tomorrow. But you thought the Albert Bartlett was competitive. Well, let's get on to the Gold Cup, shall we? The feature race of the week, the feature race of the year a lot of the time. And I mean, this is just absolutely exceptional. Not since Cordo Star won has this been such a warm order in the Gold Cup. Pretty much all the way down the pack, you've got horses who you would not be entirely surprised if they managed to get their head in front. I mean, the fact that last year's third Protectorat, who still has improvement to come and hacked up in the Betfair Chase, is an 18-1 shot. Tells you how good this race is. But it's Galloping de Champs at 13-8. A Plutard is 4-1. A lot of money for him, unsurprisingly, given how Henry de Bromhead's horses have been going. Brave Man's Game 6-1. 12-1 Noble Yates. 14-1 Statler. Inflated is also 14s. Manila Indo at 16s. Protectorat at 18s here. Like I said, bigger than us. We'll give them all a name check, of course. Ahoy Signor's in there as well. Of course, Sounds Russian, Hewick, Royal Pagaille, and Eldorado Allen. Seems to have been racing for the best part of 10 years, but somehow is only 9 years old. But Keels, this is an absolute banger of a lineup for the feature race this week. And pretty much all the championship races this week have lived up to the billing in some capacity. So fingers crossed it's going to be as good as it looks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is a brilliant race. We've got a very short price favourite who's, officially not even the best horse in the race, and not by some way either, because obviously we have last year's winner, A Plutard, who's rated £7 higher, only run once this season at Haydock, pulled up. And you think that's a bad preparation. It obviously is, but I mean the confidence behind him lately, he's burst. He's almost halved in price over the last 2 days, isn't he? Down to 4-1. So, and obviously with Henry de Bromhead coming into cracking form now, he's actually the one to beat. Galloping de Champs is really, really exciting. We know, but his form is no better than Brave Man's Games, really. They're very similarly rated. One of them won a King George, one of them won an Irish Gold Cup, but they're not the only last time out Grade 1 winners in a race either. Conflated, I like Conflated. I just think he's been overlooked. He comes in here having run away with the Savills, won it very, very easily, and not that often do you get a runaway Grade 1 winner quoted at double figures next time out, do you? So he's one I like. I still think Protectorat has got an each way chance. There are plenty of firms offering extra places, obviously. And he's better than his Cotswold Chase run. I know Tom doesn't particularly like him at Cheltenham. I can see that he can jump stickily there. Those are my two out of the field. Wouldn't be surprised if Galloping de Champs gagged up, but in a race of this depth, he's just far too short, Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley, but yes, I agree. 13-8 Galloping de Champs. Yeah, I mean he's priced up, Tom, as if he's already a Gold Cup winner coming in to defend this, which A Plutard is, and he's 4-1. But everyone is that 13-8 is a horse that you know he's going to come back and do it again almost.
Yeah, but he's the X Factor horse, isn't it? The horses like that people love, don't they? Because he would have won by. I mean, in fact, if he probably stood up last year, he might be a slightly bigger price. The people like the fact they even the sort of mystique he sort of gained traction, didn't it, when he fell at the last year? He was. Hey, look, he's a wonderful horse, isn't he? I mean, he's been brilliant since he won the Martin Pipe. He's, apart from over jumping at that last fence there, I mean, he's been brilliant over fences. He was really impressive the other day. The question is, you just don't know whether he's properly going to stay. I mean, it's going to be a really strongly run race that he will need to stay every yard of the trip to get up to do it. And we've seen that so many horses that, you know, he's going to have to run up the hill. If he's beside horses, he's got to run up the hill faster than others. And you know, it's not certain. He might be the best horse in the race by a mile, but it might not mean he's going to win the Gold Cup. Yeah, because that happens in the Gold Cup.
Well, I'm just looking at, I mean, because Corto Star went off 5-4, didn't he, for his first Gold Cup? He was a 7-year-old, very similar-esque, but the two single-figure horses against him in the betting were Exotic Dancer and State of Play. You know, both very good horses, but they're not up to the quality of these rivals.
Exactly. So, listen. Everything says to me that he's got a very good chance of winning, but you just can't. I can't back horses like that at 13-8. Also, I can't back A Plus Tard. That's my problem. It's not anyone else's problem. I get A Plus Tard. I'm a big preparation guy. That's why I could never back Sardu Burley or Envoy Allen. I'm not a forgiving type of character. And I just, you know, any horse, he jumped so badly at Haydock. It wasn't the fact that he didn't act or anything. He never met a fence right. And for me, he's out. I can't back him. You know, I think he'll be well backed again. I think that the money's come because of Envoy Allen. Basically, they saw what Envoy Allen did at Kempton, where he literally was pulled up very quickly after not showing anything, and they've sort of forgiven him. He's come back and run really well. Maybe A Plus Tard will do the same, because if he's in the form he was last year, got a massive chance. He was so impressive. So I'm not surprised he's 4-1. I expect him to start shorter than that, and I expect him to be, you know, sort of the 5-2 mark. I think everything else will drift, because I think that's the only two horses people want to back. Brave Man's Game has to prove that. I know people tell me that he ran really well when he was third in the whatever it's Ballymore. I didn't think so. I thought he was really laboured now, but he's a totally different horse now, and we've seen with the Nichols horse today, Stage Star, how they get so much better when they get chasing. So I'm not giving up on Brave Man's Game at all. He does have questions to answer at the trip at the track for me still. Noble Yates, I think, is going to drift. Statler will be a mass. They'll all drift. You'll all get massive price about the others. The one at a big price I like, and I think Keels mentioned him there, and I'm not overly worried about him at jumping around Cheltenham's Protectorate, because I think he was only 7 last year. Conditions were against him. What I like about him is that he sticks at it. He tries really hard. And I think if he's anywhere near them, if Galopin de Champs and him are coming up the run-in together, I'd want to be on Protectorate, because I think he's a really strong stayer. So at the prices, I'm quite keen on backing Protectorate each way at around 18-1. I think you might get 20s.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be very hard to argue that he has the best piece of form on offer this season, doesn't it? And he's 18-1. So, but yeah, it'd be quite the week if he got up. And just a word on the Brave Man's Game Cheltenham factor. I mean, personally, I was like, it was kind of that everyone said that he doesn't like Cheltenham and he's only run once here. And for example, you saw Tiapu today, who probably should have won the Stayers and ran an absolute stinker at the track last year. But then you saw Mighty Potter, who ran a stinker and didn't enjoy it today. So but one swallow doesn't make a summer, does it, with a horse and a course?
Absolutely not. I'm not. But it's something that it's in. I want, in a race this competitive, I want all my ducks in a row, and that's slightly just nagging me at 6-1. Whereas I know Protectorate will run up the hill. He's done it in a Paddy Power when he was carrying top weight as a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old or something, and he did it last week. And I wasn't worried about his Cotswold Chase run at all, in fact, because Dan Singleton came out and said he was as fat as a house. He'd had too many burgers in the week before, and he still stayed on best of all and was still closing them down at the line. I think he'll run really well if he can keep in touch with 2 to jump. I don't think he'll be out the frame. Put it like that.
I'm going to throw a couple more at you, Keels, because like I said, it's such a good Gold Cup. It's worth talking about, well, as many as we can, I think. Obviously, I mean, you say that a lot of them will drift, but, you're going to have people who watch this race and go, Noble Yates? I backed him in the National last year. I'm going to pile into him. Or, Conflated, like I said, Gigginstown, Elliott, Davy Russell, or Hoy Signor's got his own little fan club. And I mean, with Patrick Neville winning the other day, Ruth Jefferson winning the Gold Cup with Sounds Russian would be some story as well, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be, and Sounds Russian does keep improving, and he loves soft ground, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He seems to have had a career best virtually every time he runs. Ahoy Senor never runs a bad race in the spring. And yeah, Conflated, I like Conflated as well. Noble Yates will stay forever. He's going to be charging up the hill. All depends on whether he's close enough, turning for home. So yeah, I mean, I do think it's really open, far more open than the betting suggests. With a 13-8, 4-1, and 6 bar. Just a little bit too top heavy, the market, I think. And I think you've got to have a couple of cracks at horses at double figure prices.
Although the last time I had this feeling was Impere Pass the other day. And what happened at that? But
well, yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, that's exactly what can happen, isn't it? It will be Galopin de Champs will beat Aplutar with Brave Man's Game third, and all the keyboard warriors will tell us what a load of nonsense we've been talking.
Well, let's turn to the keyboard warriors, shall we? As we politely call our viewers. Red Light, Brave Man's Game first, Conflated second. Ralphie's going for a Ahoy Senor. Stevens doesn't like Protectorat, says he looks a bit of a plodder, which, I mean, he will stay. Kevin Hasnep doesn't fancy Brave Man's Game at all. And Macca Red, Galopin de Champs and Royal Pagaille each way at 50-1 as well. So it's, yeah, I just hope it lives up to the billing. The only one we haven't mentioned, of course, is Statler, who is the, you know...
Oh, he'll not win, Ross. He'll not win. Statler. Manella Indo's quite interesting, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned Manella Indo. He's won it and finished second in it. And we're not even, you know, he finished in front of Protectorat last time. Why? You know, he beat Statler last time. I know he was giving him a bit of weight, but with these De Bromhead horses, Lazarus-like recoveries, you never know.
I know what you say about Statler, but Patrick Mullins this week, Tom. I mean, he finished third on Diverge, fourth on Echoes in Rain, won on Gaia Domain Nil, second on Gaelic Warrior, third on Franco de Port, second on Factor File, third on Mr. Incredible. In fact, he's of all the Mullins horses, the ones he's riding are running absolute blinders.
Yeah, he should have won a couple of them, shouldn't he?
Fair enough. Fair enough. A hard man to please. David Stevens, the Cheltenham Gold Cup 2023. I'm getting excited already.
Yeah, second biggest betting race of the year. It is huge. I mean, this is fantastic. There is that danger, as Kealy just referred to, that we'll analyse this race to the nth degree and Galopin de Champs will just win. It is just the horse with the X factor, but he's way too short in a field this deep. It certainly is for me. Aplutar is fascinating. I mean, this... the form of the Henry de Bromhead four horses this week is a massive factor in this, as is Rachel Blackmore in the plate tomorrow, because it will attract money. It went 7-11-2, 4-1 this afternoon. Galopin de Champs was 15-8. At that point, it wasn't inconceivable that they were going to actually have a battle for favouritism. Seems to have settled down a little bit now, but he is the reigning champion, of course. Brave Man's Game, King George winner, nothing wrong with that. I think if you fancy him, though, Royal Pagaille at 50-1, particularly if they get any more rain, will bring him into the equation. Other ones I like there. I mean, I'm on Protectorat at 14-1. He's now 18. I mean, we've had this theme earlier in the week, but got to fancy him third last year. He'll have improved for that Cotswold Chase run, I'm sure. Dan Skelton will have him absolutely cherry ripe for tomorrow. But we got the 1, 2, 3 ahead of him from the Cotswold Chase as well. I mean, genuinely, it's a fantastic Gold Cup. It's everything you want this race to be. And we're talking about how we can get this favourite beaten. He might just be that horse with that X factor. And fair play, if he goes and beats this deep field, then hats off to him. But the couple I've got to play, well, I've played Protectorat. I'll have to play again, given he's now a bigger price. Any more rain for him will be fine. And if there is any more rain, I'd have to chuck a few quid at Royal Pagaille.
Okay, there you go. Cracker of a Gold Cup then. But yeah, if Galopin de Champs does beat this lot, then Constitution will win the Championnat and Galopin de Champs winning the Gold Cup. Then we've had a very good Cheltenham indeed for the headlines, that's for sure. Keels, though, the betting angle for you?
Yeah, a couple of double figure prices. Conflated, who I'm sure is being underrated, and Protectorat.
Okay. Tom Segal?
Well, I did a Dave Stevens and back Noble Yates at 10-1, and now he's 12. I still think he can run well, but I actually, on the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think Protectorat is the bet each way.
Okay, Protectorat then is an 18-1 shot. David?
Protectorat and Royal Pagaille if any more rain comes, but just on that Conflated, might just be worth a fiver each way, because you could have a Gold Cup winning combination of Davy Russell and Michael O'Leary not talking to each other in the winners' enclosure, and that would be something after Sid Hosey and Anthony not have been in there half hour earlier.
Yeah, it would indeed. And I'll play the two best pieces of form this season, I think, and go brave man's game and protect your eye. But I hope we just get a good race indeed. 3 more to go then on the final day of Cheltenham 2023. Off to the Hunter Chase, 3 miles, 2 1/4 furlongs. There's 24 of them going to post, and at least 4 of them will be in with a shout after the second fence. Vorsalet is 5-2. Famous Claremont 7-1. Billaway 7-1. Chris's Dream 8-1. Rocky's Howyer is 10-1. 12-1 the Storyteller. 14's Bob and Co. Secret Investor at 14-1 as well. And then bigger prices the rest, with plenty of interest in here. The most disappointing thing, of course, is that we have David Maxwell horses, but no David Maxwell in the saddle. It's a shame. But we have 2 unexposed 8-year-olds, Tom, at the top of the betting for the Hunter Chase. This is a race you've got a good record in historically, so no pressure.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's because no one else likes it. No one else looks at it. You get the wrong prices. I think the bookmakers don't know what they're doing in races like this, so you get horses at the wrong prices. I spend a lot of time on the Irish point-to-point websites in the run-up to the festival, just trying to see horses that I think are the wrong price. And the one I've come up with this year is Rocky's Howyer. Great name. Don't know what it means, but he's with Declan Kealy. He's got good line to all the point-to-point form. He's won 5 point-to-points this year. He's a 7-year-old, and by an aggregate of 122 lengths. He just wins by miles on the bridle. I just think he's getting better quickly. Obviously, this is a much bigger step up in class for him. But he's a 7-year-old, an improving 7-year-old against quite a lot of old boys. And I just thought at 10-1, he was a good bet. Billaway seems to have lost his mojo. Doesn't seem to want to jump anymore. Obviously, he won it last year. Famous Claremont's similar situation to Rocky's Howyer. He's just I think Will Biddick rides him, doesn't he, for the Barbers. He could go well. He can definitely go well. Vorsalet's just too short for me. I mean, he's got a very good chance. He's done nothing. You know, he's won lots of races, came to Stratford and was impressive. But he's sort of around the Billaway form. You know, he's got beat by Billaway. So, I don't know. I thought 5-2 was plenty short enough for him. I wanted to take a chance on Rocky's Howyer because I just think he's a real improver, real young improver that's going places. And at 10-1, he'd do to me. If we're going back in time, which we could do in these races, what about the Storyteller running well as well? He's been second in a per temps. He's won a plate. He's won 2 Grade 1s, trained by Gordon Elliott and ridden by Jamie Codd. He's far too classy. In his youth, he'd win this. I've no doubt he'd win this and he loves Cheltenham and he loves the festival. But his recent form hasn't been that great. But I think he's got pieces on or something this time. So I thought he could run well as 2. Chris's Dream is obviously classy too. Just every time he's run at Cheltenham, he's bombed out. So that would be my worry about him. But once again, it's the De Bromhead factor. So I like this race. I'm going for Rocky's Howyer. How about that? What do you think of that, Ross?
I love it. Absolutely love it. Rocky's Howyer, a 7-year-old Hunter Chaser. I mean, it really is a battle of the generations, isn't it? This show and also the Hunter Chase. But I mean, you say you're going back in time. You look down. You've got Brain Power, who was second in an Arkle, and was he placed in a champion hurdle? We've got Shantou Fly, who was second in an Ultima, I think. Black Hop was second in a Ballymore. What else have we got in the mix? We've got Secret Investor, of course. I think he won the Denman Chase a few years ago. Storyteller, Chris's Dream. It's some right old timers in here, Tom.
Yeah, a bit like me. Past the sell-by date, but still managed to keep a living going together.
They turn up for the big days, Tom. That's what they do.
It.
They do indeed. Keels, what did you make of the Hunter Chase? Is it in the cross-country bin in your mind?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, there was 28 races at the festival, and there were 2 or 3 that I think you can be forgiven for leaving alone. I just don't know enough about point-to-point form, and year in, year out, I make the same mistake of falling for the old former top-class horses in the race who've completely lost their form, and they never win. And I always fall for them, but I've fallen for them again, to be honest. But so don't back Chris's Dream and don't back the Storyteller, because those are my 2. The year Chris's Dream ran in the Gold Cup, he actually travelled really, really well to 3 out. I don't think it's really the track with him. It just wasn't good enough. But you know, I see him. I mean, you see him on the race card. He's got a rating of 155, and Storyteller's got a rating of 155, and then you look at Rocky's Harrier, and he's 116, and you think, what? Like, I mean, they're all a similar price. Now, obviously, Rocky's Harrier's won 5 points in a row. He smashed up Chatham Street Lad by 45 lengths last time, but how do we know how good Chatham Street Lad is now? So I just don't know, to be honest. Talk in the press room today was, famous Claremont will win if he stays, but they worry about him being an out-and-out stayer. But, I'll have a couple of tenors, one on Chris's Dream and the other on the Storyteller.
Okay, very well. And I'll have a tiny bit on Go Geronimo. Who has finished second over a marathon trip at Cheltenham last year and was prominent, jumped all the way and got beaten on the line by Late Night Fumble. Speaking of which, David Stevens, what are you making of it?
Terrible. It's a terrible segue.
I apologise. David Stevens, like you said, there's going to be a lot of cash flying about in this race, though. It's post-Gold Cup. It's a big field. It's always a blinder.
It really, actually, as I say, 8th biggest betting race last year. What I love is that, and this is why it's the 8th biggest betting race, because Keels, this is a race that he can leave alone. This is a race he can throw in the bin. This is a race he's still having about 7 bets on every year. So it's absolutely wonderful. It really does sum up what this festival is all about. We're 5 places each way in this Fox Hunters. I wouldn't profess to be a huge follower of the scene, but I was lucky enough to have lunch today with the Tizzards and some friends of theirs, people who do know more about the West Country hunting scene than I do. And this famous Claremont certainly is regarded as the best of the British, as the market would imply. It's just whether he's good enough to beat the Irish as well. But famous Claremont for me, because like Keels, it's a race I can leave alone, but obviously can't actually leave alone.
Fair enough. Famous Claremont, who of course was a 6-5 favourite, pulled up behind Late Night Fumble and Go Geronimo. So that's what I'm going for. Okay, the Hunter Chase, 2 more to go, with the Mayor's Chase up next, and then the best race of the week, of course, the Martin Pipe, future Grade 1 novice chaser. Where will he be? We'll find out. But we've got some Grade 2 chasers here. Allegory Devassi 13-8, Impervious 15-8, Jeremy's Flame 11-2, Magic Days 11-1, 20s Riviere de Tel with LMA and Zambella, and 33-1 bar those. Again, Keel's quite a few horses in here as well who've had maybe better days and some good ones in the sum. But you've got a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old at the top of the betting, both in winning form. But if I asked you, I'm sure at least one reason why you wouldn't want to back either of them.
I mean, it's funny this race. I mean, there are 6 horses rated within £3 of each other according to the official ratings, and that doesn't play out in the betting, does it? Like, you know what I mean? There's a big difference. We've got 3 at the top of the betting. And two very short. Allegory Devassi has looked really, really talented, but also a bit wayward with the old jumping, going out to her right. So I do worry about her, especially if the ground is deep, because it'll just take more effort to jump. I mean, I suppose she could go to the front and take them all with her, because they tend to follow their leader a little bit, don't they? Sometimes these horses, but. I'm going to oppose her. I fear Impervious now that the ground is in her favour, because I think she's a proper soft ground horse. But I just think Jeremy's Flame is too big in relation to her. She's getting £3. She's been in the form of her life this season, and Gavin Conwell is obviously right back in form. I was really impressed when she beat Zambello at Huntingdon. Did it very, very easily, and I'd say I'd put that form right up there with the other 2.
Okay, there you go. Jeremy Slim is 11-2 shot, but yeah, very top-heavy market here, Tom, and we've got horses like Riviere de Tel, who was fancy for an Arkle a few years ago. Ellie May, of course, has won this. Zambella, who runs well. I thought Dolceta might run quite a nice race at a huge price as well. So, do you have anything to get excited about?
No, absolute nonsense. Shouldn't have this race. You hate the Hunter Chase. How come this is on the card? I mean, it's just completely ridiculous. No interest whatsoever. I hope Impervious wins for Colin Murphy, because I'm a big fan of his. Think he's a great trainer. Lovely to have him back, having a good horse. And I like the fact that she beat the boys, giving them weight in her previous start. I think that's the best form. I get Keels as Jeremy's Flame love, but I think it's a waste of time. So I'll be walking the dog.
Okay. I'm not going to get into it, but I guess the argument is the same with the Mayor's Novice, isn't it? To make sure Mayor's actually keep racing. Otherwise, they'd all be off as well. They wouldn't. Half of them wouldn't make it to the track.
They used to run in the Brown Advisory and races like that.
Yeah. But only, what,
Good.
one or two of them that would have turned up? Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but fair enough.
It's fine. People can do what they want, but it's not a race for me. I have no interest.
No, fine. David Stevens, any interest?
Yeah, a little bit more than Tom, but this was the one race on the Friday last year that wasn't in the top 11, no surprise. Came in at number 27 in the year overall, so still a fairly big deal. I'm with Keels. I think Jeremy's Flame is just the wrong price, the way she brushed aside Zambella, who undoubtedly is the best of the British, the market dominated by the Irish. In fact, Zambella at 20-1 is the shortest price British challenger. Jeremy's Flame will do for me. But for those that do fancy the favourite Allegri de Vassi and the Gold Cup favourite Galopin de Champs, and Willie Mullins, we know what he can do on this Friday. 16-1 from 12-1. Both those Willie Mullins horses, Galopin de Champs and Allegri de Vassi, to win by over 4.5 lengths. As I say, was 12-1, now 16-1.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Moving on then to the final race of the Cheltenham Festival 2023, the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle. And again, a relatively new recruit to the festival. And who knew when it was introduced that it would be a source of, quite frankly, fantastic, improving, unexposed Grade 1 chasers in the future. Spanish Harlem 9-2, Imagine 5-1, Cool Survivor 5-1, Iroko 8s, Mai Tai 10s with Irish Hill, 14s Firm Footings, 20s Haxo and bigger prices at the rest. Tom, this is much more your type of race.
Yeah,
What's the future Irish graded top class winner in here?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I didn't think it was quite as competitive as it has been in the past. I thought Gordon Elliott perhaps held the key. I don't quite get the love for Spanish Harlem at the top of the market. I think it was sort of a preview night horse where everyone was whispering Spanish Harlem in their Guinnesses, and he's ended up as the favourite. I'm not convinced. Imagine I like as a horse. I'm just worried that this is the wrong race for him. I'm just worried he's going to stay the trip. He doesn't look like this race always goes to a horse that hits the line hard because they get racing a long way out. That's why the 3-milers, Gordon Elliott's won it with a lot of 3-milers in his time. Galopin de Champs obviously has won it, and now he's running in the Gold Cup. So I would be slightly worried about whether something will come past him. I could see him being bang there, jumping the last, but something will come past him. I like Cool Survivor. I've liked Cool Survivor for a few weeks now. I just think he's got the right profile of the type of horse that wins this. He ran in a Grade 1 last time, stayed on strong. He was a bit unlucky not to be right on the heels of Goodland, who, while he didn't cover himself in glory in the Ballymore, he still ran fine to be, I think he was 4th. Iroko is dangerous, definitely, but he might have sort of shown his hand, if you know what I mean. He's won 2 races by a long way, but I think he's going to go well. And the enigma that is Mai Tai's in there. He was second in a Grade 1 at Aintree last year. I think people sort of feel that he doesn't try that hard. I'm not convinced. I think he's got a bit of a chance. Mai Tai got the tongue tie on for the first time. So they'd be my 2. I tried for hours to find one at a massive price that I thought was gonna shake up the front of the market. I couldn't find one. My 2 were Cool Survivor and Mai Tai.
Okay, Cool Survivor is a 5-1 shot, and Mai Tai is 10-1. Keels, is there anything that you might have dug out, or is it, as the market's saying, concerning those on the screen?
Yeah, I mean, look, I came to the same conclusion as Tom, really. Well, I came to pretty much totally the same conclusion as Tom, because I like Cool Survivor, but I don't think it's as competitive as this race has been in the past. And Cool Survivor is just going to tear up that hill, isn't he? That's the thing. You look at a list of horses that have won it. Willie Mullins with Kilalta, Vic, Dom Poli, and Galopin de Champs, and then we've had other 3-milers in there. I mean, it goes to a horse that stays really well. He does stay really well, doing all his best work at the death. Went 4th to Goodland at Leopardstown, and Goodland ran a fair enough race behind Impero Pass in the Ballymore. So yeah, I just think he's probably well handicapped. He's going to charge up the hill, and as long as he meets the last right and doesn't fall like one of Gordon Elliott's did a few years ago, I think he's going to go very close.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that 9-2 is painful, but we've had a couple of horses, haven't we? Galloping de Chance was one of them who drifted out, but Spanish Harlem was straight on my list for every run. Whatever he's been doing in his novice events, you just get the feeling he's been learning, and he's from the family of Roi de Frank, who was third in this behind Kulultavik back in 2015, and he just looks to me like he's got a good half a stone in hand, but he's 9-2, quite frankly. So. Well, it's a shame, but I'm tipping a favourite in the last, David, but I'll take it if it wins.
Absolutely. Always nice to end the festival on a winner. 5 places each way in this one. Gordon Elliott with 6 runners. I think he's got 6 lining up. He's a key man here. Gordon Elliott to win it is 7-4 from 11-10, our final price boost of the week. And I'm in the Mai Tai camp as well. He's a half-brother to Statler, so stamina shouldn't be an issue for this one. Second in a Grade 1 over this trip. He does have to carry the weight as a result of that, but warmed up over shorter last time. Mai Tai will do for me.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, David Stevens. And that's it. That brings to an end our In the Know shows for the week. Before we go, here's a quick advert, and then we'll get the naps. That's it then. Before we go, let's get the final best bets of the week from the panel. Starting off with you, Paul Kealy.
Yeah, Pembroke to have a rare success for the British on St Patrick's Day.
Okay, there you go. Pembroke in the county hurdle. Tom?
I was going to go for the Hunter Chase, but I thought I better not. So Cool Survivor for me in the last. I think he'll run really well.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to go for Spanish Harlem Blood Destiny each way double. That's what I'm going to go for. It might be a 7-timer on Friday for Mullins, so who knows? David Stevens, what about you?
Blood Destiny 7-4, and you're going each way. Oh, you wonder why
I'm
we
going
think
each way in the each way double. Come on, David Stevens.
We'll let you off that one. Favori de Champdou in the Albert Bartlett for me. And just a big thank you to everyone that has tuned in this week. We couldn't do it without them, of course.
No, we couldn't. No,
well,
thanks to...
We could, actually. We probably could do it, but it wouldn't be so much fun if no one was watching.
No, it'd be... it'd be depressing.
There'd be a lot more bad language if no one was watching, but...
Yeah. Fair enough. But thank you. Some of those viewers: Andy Walker, Ryan Gledow, Nigel, Ed, Paul, Ryan Ludlam, Duncan Evans, Quayside, Graham Mackey, and most importantly, thank you to Sam Hart and Will Carey for quite frankly working their absolute backsides out. We might be able to do it without the viewers, but we definitely couldn't do it without them because I'm not sure either of you three could log on to Skype on your own. So, Tom, thanks ever so much. Keels, thanks ever so much. David, thanks ever so much, and we'll see you for Aintree.